What's up and welcome back. John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com. And Homelander wouldn't be happy. This is The Boys. Season 4, Episode 4. I feel like Homelander not being happy is now both, or Homelander would be pissed when you start hearing stuff like that. It's like the most ubiquitous thing that you could say while also being terrifying. Because he's probably never really happy, and also it means likely something horrifying will happen. But he also, it seems like so easy to just say Homelander would be really angry at you right now, and you're like, oh yeah, he probably would be, because he pretty much seems to hate everything, everything and everybody right now. It's just, he has no chill, zero chill now, very short fuse, losing his mind. I don't know what we're going to get by the time we get to a season 5 Homelander, because obviously by the end, he's spiraling during this season, about his identity, aging, all those kind of things. And meanwhile, we have a very strong political message that is being thrown in the undercurrent of this show, and it's kind of working. I see what it's doing, and I acknowledged it in my recap for episode 3. I was like, they're not just casually doing it; they're doing it pretty hard. And I said, if you are, if you're MAGA and you woke up and started watching The Boys this season, maybe you were able to get through the first 3 seasons, and you're like, I'm a fan of this. Yeah, it kicks ass. Everybody dies and shit gets blown up in America. Something you found out you're the villain. And I know somebody diplomatically responded, and they were like, actually, I feel like it really shows the extremes on both sides. I'm like, does it? Does it? Is it doing that on the other side? I don't know that it is. Let's explore. So Butcher has the tumor, and is seeing, the ex-love of his life just in ghosts. There's like some worm or something in him. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. But he collapses in the shower, and he has to rejoin the boys. Milk takes him back because, he needs as many bodies as he can, I guess, for the fight. So Butcher's back in after being out of the boys for like an episode. Surprise. They brought him back as if no one saw that coming. He doesn't really offer too much this episode except for like wise advice to Huey, and then just totally goes against the advice. He is such an awesome character. I love Carl Urban in the show. I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss that character. I think he and Anthony Starr, I would love to see them both get nominations for this. I don't know about, I mean, obviously like other characters, but like the two people, I'm like, is there any way maybe this coming Best Actor race that we could find some spots for them and just kick some other people out? Like, I love the Only Murders boys, but they've been nominated multiple seasons. Can we skip them and put the boys in there? Because the work that, first of all, this episode with Anthony Starr, he is chilling. This is easily the best work of his career. He is scary as shit in this. He's scarier in this than when he was supposedly a villain in his film last year, where it was him and Lizzie Kaplan and Woody Norman, and the name of the film escapes me right now. I'm not coming back for that, but it didn't have audio description, so the film escaped me even quicker. But he was supposed to be sort of like eerily creepy. He is scary in this. I mean, there is an urgency in his tone when he is about to do something horrible to somebody. That is just, there's like this need, a craving. They talk about how he has when Barbara shows up for Homelander, she talks about how Homelander craves attention and how Vought sent in a whole bunch of psychologists so that he would always need approval. No, that's not what he needs anymore. Obviously, he's been the wiring is faulty, because now he seeks his own. He's seeking something internally in himself that he can't find and he can't fill. And he's looking for that. And that kind of is reflected at the end of episode 3 when he's seeing all these different versions of himself that have all these different thoughts. And he's talking to himself in that cracked mirror. And then you see that play it out here. Because there's nothing about having approval here. He gets approval from nobody. And he does consistently whatever he wants without anybody approving. The last time he needed approval arguably was like Stormfront. And then when that blew back on him, he hasn't needed anybody's approval really since then. He, uses some people, but he doesn't need approval from anybody. He doesn't even really care about humans anymore because he considers himself above them. The fact that they would turn on him at all, that he would even have a court case for blasting that one guy, annoys him. Where does this sound familiar? It's again, if you turn off the show, I feel you, because it clearly is making a statement. The creators of The Boys, I know how they're voting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know where they're going with this. I know what their ballot looks like. I know who they're voting for. It has become evident and clear, and it doesn't bother me. I'm here for the ride, and we've seen Homelander coming a long time ago. I've always known he's the final boss, and with the final season coming, I know it's going to build to Homelander versus likely Butcher. I don't think Butcher's tumor is going to kill him. Something's going to happen because Butcher has to make it to the end game. I don't know if everyone has to make it to the end game, but I feel like the end game has to be Butcher versus Homelander. So, I don't see him passing before the end. But yeah, this is a terrifying new chapter for Homelander. And when A-Train casually runs into and they had that conversation, I was thinking, yeah, it's such a terrifying prospect to say that Homelander wouldn't be happy, because what that could mean is death. Because he has like 1 and he has 10, and he doesn't have the numbers in between. He has, I'm either going to blow your head off with my lasers or not. Like, that's it. There's no, I'm going to be mad at you and send you to your room. I wouldn't be surprised if he kills Ryan at some point in this show. I would not be surprised at all if Homelander killed his own kid. Seeing him as a threat. Not surprised at all. I think that would be a stretch, and it would be shocking for a lot of people, but it would not surprise me, because I already think he's going to kill Sage. He's going to, at some point, just because everything leads to Homelander. All roads lead to Homelander. They led once to Rome, now they lead to Homelander. Anything that threatens him being at the top will get annihilated. The head popping woman and will be annihilated. They all will be at some point. So, Huey's still dealing with his dad, and he thinks he can get that Compound V, which is why I mentioned A-Train, because that's what A-Train was trying to do, was get Compound V so that he could be, because Huey gives him like a guilt, the major guilt trip, and is like, if you do this for me, we'll be cool forever. And then Huey's like, I don't know if I want to give this to my dad. I'm actually kind of excited that we did give Compound V, well, the Butcher did, anyway, to the dad, because once I realized that the dad was being played by Simon Pegg, I think the dad was such an extraneous character that I never actually put a lot of thought to it. I was never like, oh, who's playing Huey's dad? So I never bothered to look on IMDb, and then on IMDb when I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's Simon Pegg? I was like, what the? Now I'm really excited. Now I'm like, oh my god, Simon Pegg is he's gonna come back, and he's got Compound V in his system. What is he gonna do with that? And I'm excited for the possibilities. I think Firecracker is an interesting character. Firecracker reminds me so much of a certain person. But not necessarily, it's not necessarily an insult, because Firecracker is a strong character. She's not a weak character. They're building Firecracker in a certain way, and Firecracker is not she's not as dumb as she seems. When they threaten her with releasing the information, in that moment when she takes it and she's like, all right, no, you don't have it anymore. I did it for you. And then she owned it and then flipped it on its head. And then not only did she get rid of her own scandal, but she actually used it and somehow made her stronger. I thought that was pretty impressive. I was like, okay, well, this is why Sage picked Firecracker. I don't think Sage likes Firecracker at all. You know, that whole thing, you're one of the good ones, was, I'm sure Sage was like, fuck you. But it really just highlights, you know, why Firecracker was chosen, because there are a ton of soups out there, but Sage obviously saw what Firecracker could do for what Homelander is trying to do and what Sage is helping him do, and ultimately whatever Sage is trying to do for herself, because let's be honest, for somebody who keeps saying that she's the smartest person in the world, she obviously could easily be a step or two ahead of Homelander and have a B plan for herself that does not involve Homelander. Because it'd be nice to be on top without worried about having your head lasered off at any given moment. But she seems to be able to manage him just right. So I like this season of The Boys. I hope you like this season of The Boys. Obviously, there's a lot of complicated stuff. The Frenchie thing where he finally feels like he needs to tell. I don't know that scene really worked for me. I don't really know what they're trying to do with Frenchie this season. His guilt. He just all of a sudden has guilt, and like overwhelming amounts of guilt too. And is really just trying to find himself. He's like lost. He's like a totally like lost person. And I don't know that we've been building up to that. I feel like that's like a thing where they flipped a switch in season 4. And I don't know that feels like his character. I feel like the rest of the characters kind of feel like they're in a natural progression for where their character's been going. And I feel like Frenchie, they were just like, I don't know what else to do with him this season. They're like, well, he could be sad. Well, he could be, but why? Like, has he been before? That doesn't feel like his character. The fight sequences obviously were really cool between the action team. What are they called? They have a name. Action Squad. Action Squad is fine. And when they attacked Huey and blew open Yumiko and the audio description said like her torso was like half a moment. I'm like, her healing factor is super high, so she can come back from damn near anything at this point. So I appreciate the show. I like the show. I like the characters. I think we've developed them enough. And we touch base with everybody, too. Like, everybody who is a main character kind of found at least a moment in the episode to do something. They're not doing much with Noir anymore. I don't know why he speaks so much. I don't understand. Because, like, Noir went, like, 3 seasons without ever speaking. And now, like, every time somebody talks to him, he responds. I'm like, why are you talking? This is so weird. For me, I missed something along the way in terms of how Noir is now a chatty Cathy. Because before he was like, Noir would just stand there and you could ask him any question, he would never respond. And now they're just like, Well, you think he's like, well, I think I'm gonna. It's like, what the? When did Noir start speaking all the damn time? Like, what is? I know, like, Homelander, like, tore out his guts or whatever, and I understand, like, conceptually, maybe it's like a different Noir under there, but still, you would think, like, wouldn't it still be somewhat of, like, the same type of, like, silent person? Anyway, very odd. If I had to ping the season for one thing, it would be, what is Noir talking so much? It's definitely an odd choice, but the rest of it is just like on fire. I love the season. Might be the best season yet. So I'll give The Boys season 4, episode 4 an A. I'm not gonna ding it just because Noir is talking, which is basically like the one thing where I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. And then like Frenchie's overall development is a little weird, but I guess they're trying. That feels more like they're explaining it to me. That feels more like we're seeing reasons why, even though it doesn't necessarily fit the narrative of the previous seasons. Noir just feels like he's talking all of a sudden. I'm like, why is he talking? What is going on? What did I miss? Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you guys on the other side.